Hi, good afternoon. Hello, everybody. So it's a pleasure having you all here today with me, so we can talk more about tariffs and how the new economic politics and scenario has been changing, and how it impacts companies from all over the world. Today, I'll be covering mostly companies from that are established or mostly in Latin America and Europe. But the basics of everything that I'm gonna tell today uh, fits the needs for everybody, right? So I'm going to be covering a lot around tariffs and how that impact not just traditional e-commerce business, but also those e-commerce that are doing cross-border. So this means shipping from abroad to the US. So let by starting telling a little bit more about Globalfy. Let me see here. Let me share my screen with you guys. Let me see. Yes, perfect. So, well, so Globalfy was founded 10 years ago by myself and a partner, and since there we've helped over 10,000 entrepreneurs from over 100 different countries to set up their company in the US, but also to manage their accounting, their tax, their virtual address, register agent service, and even helping them to apply for their bank accounts, which is something that our customers can do directly from our platform, from our app. Really simple process. And every month we do a live like this, or actually two lives like this, where we share more about doing business in the US and how not just to register the company, but also how to fulfill all your liabilities in the US, such as your tax returns. And now we've been covering topics like sales, marketing, and also the tariffs, as we are doing today, right? So as we've been noticing for the past months or the past year, we are living in a time of an economic and political and workplace model, instability. And also, there's a lot of new ways of doing business and of expanding business that didn't exist maybe a year or 5 years ago, right? And staying informed has never been more crucial, and that's why we do those lives and that we share a lot of free content directly here on our YouTube. So we have over 200 or 300 different videos in YouTube with amazing and really important content in Portuguese, Spanish, and English about setting up and managing a company in the US. When we started this series of lives about 3 or 4 months ago, we had around 12 or 13,000 subscribers. Now we have almost 25,000 subscribers, thanks to you. I also would ask you to like this video. This will help this video to be delivered to more entrepreneurs all over the world that may benefit from this information. And also, I would recommend you to share this video on your LinkedIn or Instagram to help other entrepreneurs to succeed, right? To understand um, how they can expand their business in the US and how tariffs impact their business. Well, as I mentioned, we have a lot of free content on your YouTube channel ready for you. Something that's really, really important, I always like to remind, is that this content was created for informational purpose only and was developed mostly for companies that sells products directly to the end consumer, most like a D2C, direct to consumer, not that much on a B2B. Although we're gonna cover some topics that also impact B2B operations. So let's start by sharing some of the perceptions or expectations from our customers. So in the past months, I've been talking with entrepreneurs from all over the world in how the tariffs will impact their business, and I'll share some of my learnings today. So for those entrepreneurs that sell mostly on directly to consumer, so D2C, they are mostly looking to absorb part of the tariffs, um, reducing their margins, but increasing at the same time a little bit the price for the consumer. So let's say if now they have a 20% or 15% tariff rate, they're gonna probably reduce their margin by 5 or 7.5% and increase their price in 5 or 7.5%, right? So they're gonna almost likely split the difference in the new tariffs impact with their consumers. When we're talking to B2B, so business to business, then I split here the scenario into like two common answers. From like the entrepreneurs from Brazil, I don't know if you know that, but Brazil was highly impacted by the tariffs, just like China, right? So like the example today, you're going to see that Brazil and China is almost on the same level on the tariffs, on the tariffs. Way different than happens to a lot of the countries from Latin America and also from the EU. Okay, but so the entrepreneurs from Brazil that sells mostly on B2B to American clients, mostly distributors, they feel and they already notice a decrease in demand. So there's a demand reduction over the products because again, importers from the US are a little concerned in what level the duties will be established. So that's the main concern. So they already notice and they expect a demand reduction, and they will try to reduce their margin as much as they can to keep to stay at a good competitive level. Okay, it's a different scenario than most of the countries from other countries from Latin America and also from the EU, because the tariffs on those areas weren't as high as in Brazil, right? So you're gonna see that in Colombia it was 0, now it's 10. Mexico and Canada is still at 0. In the EU, it's a minimum of 15%. Then in some cases less than it used to be. But I mean, those areas weren't as affected as China and as India also, and as Brazil were. And then when we talk with clients that do global trade, this means that they have a company in the US. That company in the US mostly buy and sell through different countries. So let's say they have a client in Africa that is looking to buy 5 containers of salmon fish. They find someone that in Chile, for example, that can have those fish for them, and then they're gonna buy from Chile and send from Chile directly direct to Africa. I'm sorry, and they're doing all of that through an American entity. In that case, as the product doesn't go to the American soil, they don't have to pay duties or taxes, import taxes on that product. Different than when the product is shipped to the US. Okay, so in those cases, those clients they're telling that, look, we're not feeling that much because in our operation the tariffs are not impacting our business. But of course, they see a reorganization of routes in terms of shippings, and also a different target in markets. A change in the markets that the exporters are looking for. So maybe if I'm in let's say in EU and I sell wine, maybe it's better now to look to export my products to other markets where I'm going to have a lower tax rate, a lower duty rate, I'm sorry, and I will be more competitive than maybe, let's say, export to the US. So it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing business with the US. It just means that I'm going to look also for other options. I mean, but so there's like a reorganization going on, but it doesn't impact their business directly. And it's also really important to check with how the US residents, right? They are how the US residents are seeing the impact on their business and day to day. And I brought here 2 news from yesterday, one from Business Insider, another one from Fortune. And the message was kind of clear. Look, the American consumers aren't feeling the impact of the new tariffs yet, but they will soon. As I said before, the majority of our clients and the entrepreneurs that I've been spoken with, and even for they're telling, look, we're going to have to increase our price at least a little bit to absorb the new tariffs. So consumers in the US will see increase on the pricing of all goods that they buy. That's mostly certain. That's will start happening from now on. Okay. And now I'd like to share some of the impact here, region by region. And look, if you're watching this live in English, and for some reason you actually speak Portuguese or Spanish, I just finished 2 other lives, one in Portuguese and another one in Spanish. They're already available here on our YouTube channel. So just look for it, and you can see the same content, but of course in Portuguese and Spanish, and tailor-made for those specific regions or languages. Now let's see how it goes to Brazil. That's one of the regions with the largest impact. So in Brazil, as you can see here on the bottom part of the graph, we used to have like a duty, a tariff. I'm sorry, a duty for one for this example product that is addressed. It used to be like 13%, but now it's 13% plus 10% plus 40%. So this means that the total tariff for this product is 63.6%. So prior to this year, so up to December last year, dress that cost $30 in Brazil, that was imported to the US, you would pay 13% of tariffs, so around $4. Now they pay around 63%. That goes almost up to $20, so $19, right? So as you can see, the gross profit, the margin, went down. So this means that they're going to have to adapt to increase a little bit their sale price and absorb part of the tariffs on their margin. Okay, that's certainly what they're going to do in the majority of the companies from Brazil. It's a different scenario from Colombia. Both countries in Latin America, but with different agreements. So Colombia, they already have, like, since 2012, if I'm not wrong, a U.S. free trade deal with the U.S. I'm sorry. So they have a free trade deal with the U.S. So in their case, almost 80% of the new products are exempt for duties. So this means that a product that used to the same $30, a product that costs the same $30 as in Brazil, that were imported into the US, but they are from Colombia, up to December they would pay 0% tariffs. Now they're going to have to pay 3%. So, 10%. In this case, equal to $3. So yes, there's an increase, but it's not as much as happened again in Brazil. Something similar happens to EU, to the European Union countries, not to all products, but I mean, what happens is that the United States and the European Agreement establish a minimum of 15% of tariffs for all products. So in this example here, the product had a tariff duty of 13.6%. If the minimum is 15, now they have an additional of 1.4%, summing up to 15%. A lot of the products that are exported from European Union to the US, their tariff was already over 15%. So this means that in those cases, nothing changed. But if you go like to wine, and as we know, Portugal, Spain, France, they produce really good wine and they export a lot. So in those countries, then we have a huge trouble here, because the wine used to be taxed only in 19 cents per liter. Now it's 19 cents per liter plus 15%. So again, some products, there's a huge change in the way the tariffs are applied. So when you're comparing products or markets or tariffs, you have to look for two main things: area, so country of origin, and also the product, okay? Because they change product by product. Here, just an example, the same thing. The tariffs before was 13%, so it would be $4, now 15%, $4.50. So not that big change. Mexico and Canada, they are under the USMCA agreement. So this means that the majority of the products, over 85% of the products, do not pay duties when entering into the US. So even though Canada has a tariff of 35% right now and Mexico 25%, the majority of the goods are not taxed at all. So 0% when doing this when shipping from Mexico to the US. Okay, and then China, as I said before, probably the country that right now has the probably no. This is the country that right now has the higher tariff. It can go up to 85, 90% when you sum up everything. So as you can see in this example, the product, again, 13.6%, but then you have 20% on top, another 34, and another 7.5% as tariff. So products from China, they got way more expensive, as we can see here, right? So prior to January, so in December last year, the tariffs for this same product manufactured in China, it was 21%. Now it is 75%, right? So the tariffs was like $6 on a product with the cost of $30. Now it is $22. So I mean, definitely there's going to be change in terms of how the pricing and the marginal structure for all companies from China and mostly from all over the world. And I also have here a comparison, and I wanted to say sorry to my friends from Mexico. When I was editing here, I didn't change the Colombian flag for the Mexican flag. So I'm sorry. So when products that are manufactured in Brazil, so country of origin is Brazil, right now, at least 50%. So in this case, 50 plus 13%, 63%. Colombia, only the 10%. Mexico and Canada, 0%. EU, at least 15%. And China, at least 62%. And it can go up, as I said, up to almost 90%. Perfect? So I mean, it's really important that you understand, again, how tariffs are impacting every country of origin, not just yours, because that way you can establish strategies to decrease the impact of the tariffs in your business. And I also would like to tell you about this website here. It's Flexport. So Flexport is an American company that helps that provides cross-border shipping services, customs broker service, and a lot of other services related to logistics. And they have this platform, this new platform under tariffs.flexport.com, where you can really easily put on the HTS code, and then the are acting Okay. Let's see. Oh, we're live. It's working again. I'm sorry, guys. We got some technical problems here with the internet. Not sure what happened. I'm really sorry for that. Let's see if it works fine now. Let's see if it keeps loading in on YouTube. Give me one quick second. Perfect. Let me see. Tim, can you? Is it working now? I think so, right? Perfect. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let me just share my screen here with you again. We've been doing this for a long time, and it's the first time that we had something like this. That's fine. It happens, right? It's the instability in the world that affected our connection today. Let me see if you can. Perfect. Now you can see my screen again. So yes, as I was telling before, Flexport has an amazing tool that will help you to check and compare the duty and the import, the tariffs for each one of the countries of origin. I'm sorry, and it's a really well updated and maintained tool. Okay. The other one is the official website for the USITC. So I mean, if you go to hts.usitc.gov, you can check um, uh, the official chart of tariffs being applied for each one of the countries. It's a little harder to understand than you're gonna have on Flexport website, but I mean, it's still the official resource. Really important for you to also keep track on that. And what is the change on the minimis and the cross border? So if you don't know what cross border operation is on e-commerce, I'll tell you in a really simple way. It's basically you have a customer, let's say in the US, but you're operating your fulfillment facility from UK, and then every time someone makes a purchase on your website, you're going to ship directly from the UK to the consumer. So this means that the product itself, it wasn't in the same country as the consumers, right? It's been shipped from abroad. What happens is that up to today, all shipments under $800 didn't require a formal clearance, and they were not impacted on tariffs. So let's say if you're importing a container of mobile devices, the container will be taxed, right? You're gonna have to do the clear on the pay the duties and so on. But if you're just shipping a mobile device that was, let's say, less than $800, no clearance required, and no duties to be paid. So starting in August 29, so mostly for September, all shipments made from for the US, regardless of they are being shipped from, they're going to have a formal clearance and also pay duties in the process. So what happens that, again, let me come back here to the example. If you're shipping a product that was manufactured in the US, in the EU, and the product has let's say 15% tariff, this means that once the product gets in the US, even if it costs $10, you're going to have to pay $1.50 as tariffs. From Colombia, I'm sorry, from Mexico and from Canada is still zero. Okay, from Brazil, in this example here, 63. From China, 75. So I mean, I think that you can understand, right? So this means that now all shipments that are made to the US will have to pay to do the formal clearance and also to pay duties. But there's some strategies for you to reduce the impact of this in your business. So I'm sorry, I'll just come back here to this information that is important. I'm sorry. So what a lot of the brands are doing, they're going to start shipping DDP. So deliveries duty paid. So that means that the duty will be paid by the shipper prior for it to get to the US and being delivered to the consumer. Okay. So until up to August 29, what happens is that when you ship a product to the US, the only cost that you have right now is the shipping cost. But starting September or after August 29th, you're going to have the shipping costs plus the custom broker service plus the import duty and tax. So there's going to be more costs involved in this operation. And what a lot of our clients are doing, what may be a good strategy for you if you're doing cross-border shipment, it is to actually have a company in the US. That company in the US will make the sale to the consumer, right? The company in the US will actually be the buyer from your product, let's say from UK, just using the same example, from the UK. And when you ship your product from the UK to the US, you're not shipping with the total order value of $100, for example. You're actually shipping it with the invoice value because you're exporting a product to a reseller in the US. In this case, the reseller is your American company. So you're going to have, let's say, a product with $30. So instead of paying 15% over the total amount of the order, that is $100. That's what happens when you don't have an American company. Now, as you have a domestic company in the US, you're going to be actually shipping this product for $30 for your American entity, paying the 15% on top of 30, not on top of the $100. And DHL, FedEx, UPS will handle everything and deliver it directly for your consumer. So the product doesn't have to go to your facility in the US. You don't even have to have a facility over there. You can just ship directly for your consumer, DDP, so delivery duty paid, paying less taxes than you would pay if you didn't have an American company and you were shipping it directly for your consumer. Okay, so this is a strategy that I've seen a lot of our clients using, and then I'm pretty sure that starting September we're gonna see a huge volume of new clients looking for the same kind of service. But look, if you're not doing cross-border, if you are shipping and selling directly from the US, how can a US company help you increase your revenue and improve your margins, right? And this applies also if you're not selling to the US at all. Look, the first thing is that once you have a company in the US and you're selling into the US, you have an access to a market with over 300 million consumers. That in 2025 we will spend more than $1.2 trillion in e-commerce. Right. On top of that, having an American entity, which is cheap and not complex, will give you access not just to the Amazon marketplace, but to other marketplaces like Walmart, and helping you to have a same-day delivery, right, or next-day delivery, which is a huge feature and really important when you're selling to American consumers. On top of that, depending on the country that you are, as in the US, you only pay taxes on the net profits, not on the total sales. You may be even able to reduce your tax rate in your home country legally. Okay, everything I'm talking here is legally. So I mean, there are ways that can help you pay less tax in your home country if you're operating to an American entity. Other than that, I mean, American companies usually have a higher margin and markup when operating in the West than comparing to other countries. So, I mean, this may not be the case for a company from UK. But I mean, if you base it in India, for example, or a lot of countries in Western Europe, or I'm sorry, in Eastern Europe or Asia, this may be true. So what happens is that a product that you sell in your home country for the equivalent of $10, maybe you can sell for $30, $40, or $50 in the US. There's a lot of well-known brands that do that. Brands from Europe that I know, brands from Latin America, from Brazil, that I know that when they're selling domestically, they have a lower margin because the local market doesn't accept that higher margin. And of course, because there's some difference in the currency rate. So it may be a really interesting strategy for you to increase your margin and at the same time that you are also increasing your total addressable market. And of course, having a company in the US, having your brand validated in the US, give you access to the rest of the world, right? So it's a global exposition of your brand. And just to remind you that the game has changed but that the playing field and the game is still there, right? So there are changes, but it's not over. You just need to adapt. The US market remains massive and with a high purchasing power. What's changing now is that some competitors will slow down, and that creates room for those with the courage and strategy to adapt. So again, the market is still there. Consumers will still purchasing, uh, 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 probably even more than they were before. And we've seen this happen many times before. And those who move fast take the space of others that others leave behind. Okay, if your goal is to be in the US, this may be the time to adjust and move forward. So you don't have to wait until everything is stable, because I mean, with the current policy. Uh, I'm sorry, with the current political scenario and economic scenario, there's not going to be like complete stability, right? Everything will always be changed. So you gotta adapt and move fast. I think that's the key here if you wanna keep expanding or getting into the American market. And Globalfy can help you towards that goal. We've, as I said before, we have helped over 10,000 entrepreneurs from 100 different countries to register the company in the US, having their address, their bank account, their register agent, and helping them keeping their company in good standing with the IRS, with for accounting and tax service. The process is done 100% online, pretty simple, and you can have an outstanding customer service by email, by WhatsApp, or by phone. And look, if you're looking to establish your business in the US, I would like you to invite you to get in touch with your sales team. You can reach them directly on WhatsApp or through email address. The information will be left here on our chat here on YouTube, and it's also here in the description of the video. And just this month in August, as we are celebrating 10 years, we have an outstanding offer that is 25% off for all clients transferring their companies from from other providers in the US. So if you already have an LLC in the US, you can transfer it to Globalfy with 20% off, or up to $150 off when you're forming your new entity. And this will be valid only until August 22nd. So I strongly recommend you get in touch with our sales team. They're going to be more than happy to explain more about their service, understand about our business, and explain how Globalfy can help you to take your business to the next level. Well, I hope I was able to answer the majority of our questions. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties you have here. It was probably my internet, my connection here. But look, our team is available through WhatsApp, phone, and also email. Just let us know how we can help you. And I strongly recommend you check our other videos here in our YouTube channel, where every day we have some sort of content being published, and every month we have at least 2 lives talking more about doing business in the US, and at least 8 to 10 new videos every month, sharing our knowledge with our clients and with the market. So thank you very much for your time today. Looking forward for our next live next month. And again, our team is here to help you. Take care. See you. Bye-bye.